Hey, it's Jeff from Jador, and I wanted to share a little bit about my favorite workout these days. The way I'm taking care of my body that's helping me transform the thing. And it's this. It's working in the yard with hand tools, gardening. And people ask you what's your favorite workout? How do you like to work out? Stuff like that. And I always say gardening. We have a laugh. It's kind of a joke. People don't think of gardening as a workout. But, if you get away from plugging in tools and move more towards swinging tools like this, you find that it's a workout for sure. And, I used to we had a wood stove growing up. That was the only source of heat in our house when I was a kid. So chopped a lot of wood. And I miss that, swinging an axe. It was a good Zen thing when I was a kid. I hated hauling the wood up the stairs because it was heavy, but I loved swinging the axe. And so this is that same Zen thing that I had when I was a kid. But beyond that, this really grew from when I was trying to recover from all the stretching I was doing. Uh, when you stretch deep into a joint, in my case, it was my hips first, and you pull it all apart, and parts that were numb and stiff and just non-functional start moving again. Those parts, those little muscles inside your hips and low back, they are really fragile and a little bit useless. In my case, they hadn't moved for decades. It's like they didn't know what to do. And so I found just going for walks was about the best therapy that I could get into. Real quick, this I'm moving. I've chopped up all the ground, and I'm using a smaller hoe just now to chop up the dirt clods. Then I'll go rake it out with a rake a little later. But getting back to what I was talking about, when my hips were really starting to break open and so fragile and weak, just going for walks was all I needed. Because just walking around, you could feel the little cricking, cracking, snapping, and popping as things are kind of starting to move, and you're like, is that a good movement or something? And it takes a while to explore that and kind of get those muscles activated again and moving the right way in sequence again. And if there's people who've recovered from major injuries, maybe this sounds a little more familiar to you, but that's what it felt like to me. So things like walking, going for walks, is how I started healing. And then from that grew to, hey, squatting down, standing back up again. Let's learn how to do that. It's like when I got older and stiffer into my 40s from all those decades of sitting in a chair and standing in one spot, that stuff was stiff and broken and not working anymore. And I had to relearn how to move in the right ways to do things like squat down safely, stand back up with weight, from a deep squat down on your heels. So yeah, being out in the garden is the best practice for that. When you're working with hand tools, you find yourself squatting down like this, bending over, going through stuff, standing back up. And that's the practice that I needed to put my body back together. And man, it worked so well. You can just go at your own speed, and you practice all these. You're not just doing one squat over and over again. You're doing squats at different angles. You're twisting around. You're lifting stuff at odd angles, and you kind of have to think your way through it. Because if you go at it too quickly, when you're in that fragile state, I could have hurt myself pretty easily gardening, and that's kind of embarrassing. So you take it slow. You get to know your body again, how it works, how to do all these small little things again. And all of a sudden, a couple hours have gone by because you're concentrating on that weird little click in your left hip and how your back feels when you bend over to pick something up. And yeah. And, then every once in a while you get a helper like Cade to come out, give you a hand on some stuff. And that makes it fun. But along the way, besides all the healing that I was doing, it was this real Zen experience of getting to know my body again from the inside out. And that, for me, was really the Zen moment. When you can just find some cool, not just cool, find some really amazing experiences just standing and washing the dishes, because your hips and your shoulders are moving different all of a sudden, and it feels great to just move. Then gardening and everyday stuff becomes a lot of fun. And I discovered that along the way too. That was really cool and unexpected. So again, this is why gardening has turned into my number one go-to workout. Explore the body, get to know the body again, build the body back up, obviously. But kind of coming from the inside out this time, instead of just consumer fitness. We got this softer stuff to work with now. It's a lot. Some weeds and stuff to pull. And you can see we got a pretty hefty pile growing right there. So that was the day's work, and that's the gardening workout. That's the vibe. Get in and grind on some really nice, hard labor. Fix your body up right.